Hi, it's you from Politically Challenged. I'll make this video as short as possible because I'm having storage problems with my phone. Let's get right to it. So this is why I believe that white privilege is a myth. It's not real. I believe that white privilege is not real because, white people, just like people of other so-called races and ethnicities, have to deal with their own hardships as individuals and as part of communities, whether that's cultural communities, professional communities, social communities, religious communities, or otherwise. There are, several types of so-called white people that have dealt with, ancestral, oppression and all this stuff. Not just blacks, not just Native Americans, not just Jews. Okay? That's one thing. Another thing is there are white people, white people that I know in real life and white people that you see on the news and on TV. They don't have a lot. They don't have a lot of money. They don't have many connections. A lot of them are working class. Some of them have been made redundant. Some of them are, have mental health issues. But for some reason, because they're white, that should be glossed over. And just because they're white, their lives are supposed to be so much better. No, come on, that's BS. What I'd also like to talk about briefly, because my phone is weird, is a video that I found on the BBC News. It was brought out a couple of days after Trump won the election. The people on the debate regarding this election win was Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, the world-renowned Nigerian novelist. She came out with books like Americana and Half of the Yellow Sun. And then the other person on the debate was Emmett Terrell, a Trump supporter and someone in his campaign. Emmett was questioning Chimamanda, saying, "Oh, what did Trump say that was so racist?" And then she mentioned the guy who was the judge for the ruling for the Trump University situation. People said that it was a scam, etc., etc. Trump made that comment that, just this guy's of Mexican heritage, he's going to be biased against me. People said that he was racist. But honestly, this is the man who wants to build a border wall to keep illegal Mexicans out of the country. Of course, he wants to minimize illegal immigration so that the people of America, their resources are not further depleted, and it's a matter of national security as well. This is fine. This is good. This is what you're supposed to do as president. But because it's Mexicans, people of color, racism, no. He wants to... I don't agree with the border wall because it's a waste of money. Like, come on, there are other ways that people are going to illegally migrate into a country than just that border. Like, other people, it's 2019. People have better ways of doing it now. It's part of the problem that could be fixed, but they'll still find a way. And it's a lot of money. He wants to spend billions on it. That's why I think it's not the best idea. But illegal immigration, minimizing it, stopping it, yes, absolutely do that. Chimamanda, when this Emmett bloke said to Chimamanda, "Oh, what did he say that was racist? What did he do that was racist?" She went and said something that she shouldn't have said. She said, "Oh, you're a white man. You shouldn't be out here dictating and defining what racism is." That in itself is racist. You're saying that he doesn't have the right to talk about racism and define what racism actually is because he's white and therefore has no idea what racism is. BS. White people face racism all the time. Well, not all the time, but they can be targets of racism. It's not impossible for white people to be targets of racism. That's BS, okay? It's BS. White privilege is a myth. Like, you got white people with mental health issues, disabilities. You got white people who are members of the LGBT, and LGBT people are more likely to deal with hate crimes than heterosexuals. There's all this different things. And you could be a straight white male and you can still have to deal with your own stuff, okay? It doesn't make you more privileged than people who aren't white. That's BS. Cut it out. But saying that white people, there are whole books on this. There's like this book. I still need to read it. There's this book like, "Oh, why I'm no longer talking to white people about race." There's books on this stuff. Like, white people are allowed to talk about race issues. White people are allowed to talk about racism. White people can be targets of racism. If you say that white people aren't allowed to talk about race or racism, then you're not only accusing white people of automatically being more powerful than every other race because they're the perpetrators while we're the victims, which is detrimental to both white people and not white people at the same time. Not only are you doing that, but you're being racist towards white people because you're taking them out of the conversation. You're taking them out of the conversation, a conversation that they as human beings need to be a part of for there to be real racial equality. I mean, come on. It's a double-edged sword. You're screwing over white people and non-white people at the same time with your nonsense about how white people can't talk about racism. Chimamanda is an intelligent woman. She's a world-renowned novelist. She's come on. She should know better. I'm like, man, it annoyed me because that did annoy me because she's not the only one who says stuff like that. You can be intelligent, you can be smart, you can be gifted, but it doesn't automatically make you right with every little thing. Like, I don't support Trump in everything that he says and does. Don't get it twisted. I've mocked Trump openly on the podcast multiple times. I want to apologize for that, but at the same time, I'm really starting to think that I should not jump on the bandwagon of let's hate Trump for the sake of it. No. There's a method to the madness, and one day we'll all see it. But what I'd like to say is that white privilege does not exist. You've got white people. I've got white friends telling me how they open up to people and they're shut down because, oh, you're white. You don't get to talk about this. Oh, you're white. You don't know what discrimination is. A white guy I know, he went to his doctor. He told her, oh, I got depression. She says, you're white. What do you have to be depressed about? This is a medical professional. Intelligence does not equal wisdom, apparently. My phone will die soon, so I will cut this short. My final point is, white people deserve to talk about race and racism, and white people have to deal with their own BS too. They have to deal with their own fears, insecurities, and barriers and obstacles, just like everyone else. Just because they're white doesn't mean their lives are automatically easier. In some ways, you could argue that, perhaps, there are advantages to being white as opposed to not being white, but at the same time, you can flip the switch and say that there are advantages to not being white and to being white. It depends on the situation. I guess I'm done. See you tomorrow.